All right, Jesse and Fire, welcome back. So, big news that I assume most people have probably already heard since it got announced 4 hours ago that the UFC just signed the biggest deal like ever in combat sports, $7.7 billion with Paramount. I'm going to tell you exactly what that means for us as viewers. I'm going to tell you what it means for the entire fight industry, and then I'm going to tell you about some other deals related to this, the combat sports space. Like, as an example, I'm sorry. That's the one guy who is absolutely furious that this deal got made, which is Jake Paul. And it's funny, actually, because it really has much more to do with him as a promoter in the combat sports space. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, one of the top 3 biggest draws in boxing currently, which is still on a pay-per-view model. So we're going to talk about that. But also, we're going to talk about a deal that Francis Ngannou made that he did not live up to, whereby he is skipping the Africa PFL events, which is, I actually don't even know if I have words to communicate how long am I? Oh, we've been talking for a minute. How fucked up that is, man. It's unbelievable. Okay, this dude got given a deal that no person should have been given. If it was John Jones, okay, given where the PFL was at the time, if it was John Jones they were signing, it would have been an incredibly aggressive deal. Francis was nowhere near the draw of John Jones. He took a deal that only he benefited from. And in terms of the, UFC, or I'm sorry, PFL Africa, he's the chairman of PFL Africa. He no-showed the events, okay? Now, there's actually a lot more to this story, though, that I'm going to get into. Actually, I'm going to start there. And then we'll get into the details of the other stuff. But also, we're going to talk about Conor McGregor because he made a deal with D not to cheat anymore, I guess, is like what people were interpreting this post as. And I'm like, that's not it's not a bet I would take, dude, But Conor he promised he's not going to cheat anymore. It's like, and I promise I'll never look at a girl in a bikini ever again. It's like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? I mean, a leopard can't change its spots, dude. Like, yeah, I will notice girls in bikinis walking around. Conor is going to cheat. Like, that's just what it is, That's a really weird example. I had, like, girl on the brain because I was talking about Conor. I could probably think of something else that I would be making false promises about. But that's the one I went with, so don't break my balls. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Let's do this. By the way, this is not even an official plug, okay? I'm just telling you guys, it is NFL season. Prize Picks, go get after it. They're not paying me for that. It's just that fun, and NFL is right around the corner. There's a link in the description. Check out Prize Picks. Use Jesse on Fire for a free $50 bonus. All right, so let's go ahead and start with PFL. Okay, so this is a level of, I don't even know where to start with this, because when PFL signed Francis, right, he got $10 million guaranteed for each of his 2 fights, in addition to $2 million guaranteed for his opponent, okay? So, the guy that he beat in 5 seconds in his only PFL fight? That dude got $2 million for that 90 seconds of shellacking, okay? Now, I don't know about you guys and how you feel about taking money from people and then giving a service, but when I take money from people and they are buying something and I know that they've kind of mapped out what the value should be for the money they're giving me, I feel overwhelming responsibility to deliver on that, okay? Like, overwhelming. Now, I'm not going to give myself any, I don't know, whatever, but in the majority of my, sponsorships, they, because I'll follow up and I'll ask what the numbers were, and if they're not doing well, I'll adjust stuff. They're very happy with the sponsorship, partnership between them and myself, because I really do feel overwhelming responsibility to deliver on what they're paying for. So this behavior with Francis is something I look just straight down my nose on, because it's like, this is just an example of, like, you can see exactly what kind of person he is with this, right? Like, believe me, I've always been a huge Francis fan. I love watching him blitzkrieg people, and I've always been rooting for him because I love his story. But this is something that's like, oh, this guy, like, the stuff that people have been saying about this guy is true. He doesn't give a fuck about other people, man. Like, he really doesn't. He doesn't care. It's like a personality defect, that led to his amount of success if you know his backstory. But, like, the other part of his PFL deal was specifically that they had to open up PFL Africa. He's the chairman of PFL Africa. And they're putting on their very first show there, and he no-showed it and ghosted the CEO. Okay, he also got $4 million of the $20 million that he got for his fights up front. Okay, $20 million deal, $4 million of it immediately before he even fought. And then you get $8 million when he fought. Okay, he's the chairman of PFL, and he no-showed him. Now, Dana had always said, like, Dana was like, he's not a good person. Now, I realize that there's a lot of people who look at the industry and they think Dana's not a good person. They don't know him, right? They don't know him. And from what I've heard, he is a very good person in terms of like the people that are around him. He's always there to help these guys. I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about him who actually is like in a, business relationship with him. That's probably not true, but like people that I know who actually know him have nothing but good things to say about him. And, but nonetheless, I don't say, oh, Dana's a great person, because I don't have, kind of direct, like, I just don't take a lot of, I don't put a lot of weight on people's opinions of other people unless I know that they know them really well, right? And or there's like something I can validate. So like Dana saying he thinks Francis is a bad person, I'm like, okay, well, Dana's got beef with Francis, right? But what Dana said is he'll say one thing and then he'll just flip around and do the other. This right here, this is like personality defect level, okay? Like bottom line, this was your huge thing. These people have overpaid on, it's like, how could you no-show this event? How could you ghost the CEO of a company that's paid you that much money? You know they lost money. Like, that's the point I was making, before that. I was in Vegas this last weekend, okay? I was there with my best friends. We went to see Backstreet Boys Saturday, and oh my God, it was so fun, man. But I am not hitting on all cylinders right now. So if I sound even moderately coherently no, whatever, I'm just not even gonna try to find that word. It's a miracle, because in my brain, I am like a fish that's like swimming upside down. What kind of metaphor is that? Anyway, but the point that I was making was they've lost so much money on this deal with Francis, and for him to no-show the thing that he forced them to do is just egregious, man. But guess what the good news is for PFL? Sold out crowd. Okay? That's two things you don't hear in the same sentence very often, is PFL sold out crowd. Okay? So they might have accidentally tripped over their dick and landed on a successful business because they sold out a crowd in Africa. Okay? Like, listen, if you're in the business of combat sports and you are selling out crowds, that is a successful business. So if you have to move everything to PFL and you focus on live events, that's what you do. Given that pay-per-view's dead, that right there, that's a big bonus for PFL, because like they can't sell pay-per-views. Pay-per-views in general are such like a catastrophic indicator for people who want to enter into this space, is because like it's a number that people can look at. They're, oh, how many buys were there? And then another organization does it. They only sold 10,000. It just makes it look awful. It makes it look like there's nothing happening there. And it makes them unable to sell tickets. And by the way, in case you were unaware, the UFCs deal with Paramount, no more pay-per-view. No more pay-per-view. So anyway, I don't know. I don't even know what to add to that other than just say that, like, I have no respect for this at all. Like, this is gross. It just violates, like, so many things that I think are important for you to deliver as a human being in deals that you make. It's disrespectful on a level I can't really even quantify. Now, it's the only other thing. I could probably, God, man, I could get some miles out of this story. But the Conor McGregor and Dlin thing, this is all I want to say about this, all right? Like, because they, apparently they did this big post on Instagram, and it's like her birthday, and they went to the I don't even know how to pronounce that, BVL Gari, like Bugari or whatever, I don't know, whatever that brand is, and they shut it all down for Conor and D, and he bought her a purse and whatever. And in the Instagram post, he posted something that said, like, I promise, right? And everyone's all, oh, he's promising not to cheat anymore. I don't know what that means. I read that. I'm like, why are they assuming that means that he's, I won't cheat anymore? Here's the other thing about this entire thing that I do not understand is Why is everybody assuming that she is this like, that she's, oh my God, she's just in this trapped, terrible situation? She has never shown a single indicator that she cares if Conor hooks up with other girls. Okay? Like, I'm sorry, I'm just like, I'm falling apart, man. But yeah, like never once. Like she's never shown that she's upset. She always, no matter what is going on in the public, has had his back and like is all smiles. She to me looks like she just loves him unconditionally. She doesn't care. And here's the other thing about that. All right. So everyone sees these things, oh, Conor's out with another girl, and they think that he's betraying D. Okay. There is another way to look at this. And I realize this is going to be very foreign to most people because most people are, they get jealous. Like the thought of like their significant other like going out and just like hooking up with other people, they'll get very jealous. Okay. There is a complete opposite way to look at all of that. Okay. Because I know this for a fact that there are women who are the main staple of a very important man. And this is really like, this is a dynamic that, as far as I know, only exists between the woman and then the man is very powerful and whatever. And this is how they look at it. I let him go try every fucking ice cream flavor there is. And he always comes home to me. Okay. I've never limited. Go out, dude, try every flavor in the book. I don't care. Because I know he's always coming back to me. So the way she looks at it, if she falls into this category, is she's empowered by the fact that he goes out and bangs all these women. Okay. I know that, again, that probably sounds crazy to a lot of people, but it's a fact that there are absolutely 100% women who like, I know them. Okay. I mean, it's not Gabrielle, by the way. Hey, ladies, sorry, it's not Gabrielle. So I am not allowed to do that, unfortunately, for all of you, because it would be the best. I'm just kidding. But again, people that I know personally, that is how they look at it. Okay, every time that he hooks up with another woman, she wins. Like she's like, yeah, he tried it, came right home. She's a throwaway girl. I'm the only girl that lives with him. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. And if you think about it like that, it's like, all right, I guess, right? That's what I think she is. So she doesn't care that he hooks up with other women. Okay. She doesn't care if he sends dick pics to Zia Alligaria or whatever. She doesn't care. Right. He says, yeah, she looks at that. She's like, check out that dick. She's like, hey, who gets to play with that dick that's got to wait on it all the time? Me. And then I let these other girls try it, but I own it. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that he has not married her, though, where it's like, dude, because that puts him in a very, what's the right word? Position of power, like where she can't leave him, really. Actually, I don't know what the laws are out there, but if I were him, I would marry that fucking girl, dude. Like I think she's passed the test, dude. She's got your back. All right, now let's move over to the UFC's deal with Paramount Plus and what it means for all of us. Let's talk about us first, right? Who cares about them? Okay, for us, this is huge because I already have Paramount Plus. This right here, like this deal right here, great for the UFC. They they got all this money. Okay, guess what? I just saved about $1,000 a year or whatever. Not 1,000 actually, but more than 500, less than 1,000 because pay-per-view's done and I already have Paramount Plus. And there's no additional charge. Okay, every single UFC is gonna be free on Paramount Plus now. Do you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be free. Well, I mean, you pay for Paramount Plus, you get it. It's like it's great, dude. It's great for us. So everybody who is a fan of the sport should be very happy right now, and I should hear nothing but good things about it. However, getting into like the terms of the deal, okay, so they got $7.7 billion, no more pay-per-view model, and that is smart, by the way, again, because guess what, dude? Pay-per-view is dead. You can't enforce it. All anyone has to do to go and watch a pay-per-view for free is just go to a website and then deal with a single ad, pop-up ad. Okay, exit out, click it again, and it's on. Hey, do you think that most people are going to pay $60, $70, $80 or deal with one pop-up ad? Okay. Now, I bought every single one out of principle because they go through all this work, put on these shows, and then I go on and talk about it professionally. Like, this is all I do. Just go on and talk about it. And even though like I've expanded what I talk about, UFC was the core of how I built, and I still talk about them all the time. So it's like, it just felt like for me to steal the events is super fucked up. So I pay for all of them. It's the least I can do. But everyone else steals them. So like, it's a dead model. It's not even open for discussion. It's a dead model. Okay. And you want to know how dead it was? This is fucking crazy. You want to know how dead the pay-per-view model was? Is that when they were selling advertising space, okay, when they're selling advertising space, the impressions, the number of impressions that they factor into the price included the illegal streams. Okay, so like when they're telling, you know, whoever's going to be Bud Light, how many people are going to see that logo on the canvas? They don't just count the pay-per-view buys; they count the pay-per-view buys plus the 80% of people who are stealing it. Okay, how bananas is that? Okay, if that doesn't tell you that pay-per-view is dead, it should. Okay, and you know it's the same thing as like the number of buys on the Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury fight. Like that's a perfect example. Everyone watched that fight. Everyone watched that fight. And go look at the pay-per-view numbers. Everybody stole it. Everybody stole it. Bottom line. It is very interesting to consider what Dana and them are going to do with the new boxing thing that they're doing, right? Like they just took over boxing for the Saudis. So, you know, you got to figure that their plan is to compartmentalize boxing into a single organization, just like UFC had done with the Saudis' money, and then try to sign a similar deal. That is my guess. And I will say this every time that I talk about it. The move is to take off the gloves, okay? Not bare knuckle, but you do boxing, but you do it in MMA gloves, and that is how you do. You start a new sport, okay? It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same sport. But if you take off the big gloves, that will make it appear to be a new sport, and then you can brand and build like that, okay? But you just have to get a couple of the really big boxers to come into your organization. You overpay the shit out of them because the return on investment is going to be gigantic because you're not just looking at each event. You're looking at starting an entire new sport. So you have to vomit money at the beginning like any other time. And I'm pretty sure the Saudis have plenty of money, you know? Anyway, so the deal is $7.7 billion and it's paid over 7 years. It's end loaded though. So what that means is that they pay less upfront, right? So it'll be, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the exact figures, but obviously $7 billion over 7 years would be $1.1 billion a year. But it'll like start at 700 million. And then the next year it'll be like 850. And then somewhere midway, they meet that the midway threshold. And then they get a lot more than 1.1 billion in the last few years. That's the way that works. And, you know, if you are an owner of TKO stock like I am, let's just see where we're at today. Cause, let's see, it's up 9%. 9%, which puts my investment at a total of 103% over what I bought. Let me tell you, if you ever have a really strong gut feeling about a certain company that you want to buy, and you're like, I think I should go all in on this. At least in my experience, I should have trusted myself, okay? I should have trusted myself. I bought $10,000 worth of TKO stock when it first went public, which is I'm not trying to like whatever, but I almost bought a massive amount, like a really big amount, where it would have been a huge deal to my future finances, how well or not well it did. The only reason I didn't do it was because of that class action lawsuit. And I was like, man, because like I have so much faith in these guys, but I don't know. I think it's such a gigantic thing. Like if this thing got chopped by 30, 40%, it's going to, like it would hurt bad. If I would have trusted my instincts, I would have double whatever I would have invested. So, whatever. I still feel good about it, an $11,000 return though. Throwing my cell phone around. I actually don't feel that good about it. I'd feel a lot better if it had 2 more zeros on it. I don't have 2 more zeros. That was wasn't gonna put $1 million into TKO, but a lot more than 10. Anyway, all right. So Dana White confirmed the move on an Instagram. Okay, so this is what Dana said. He said, "This historic deal with Paramount and CBS is incredible for UFC fans and our athletes. For the first time ever, fans in the U.S. will have access to all the UFC content pay-per-view without the pay-per-view model, making it more affordable and accessible to view the greatest fights on a massive platform. The deal puts UFC amongst the biggest sports in the world The exposure provided by Paramount and CBS networks under this new structure is a huge win for our athletes and anyone who watches and loves sports. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe, maybe. I mean, honestly, the only athletes that had any impact on their pay-per-view were the champions. I don't know what their books look like. I have no idea. Like, I've always kind of backed into the fact that the UFC seems to be able to pay everybody what they're doing based on just the gate, right? Like just the gate. Just the gate alone paid more than the entire payroll most of the time, unless you have like a superstar on there. So I guess that makes sense for how they do this. But I'm curious what this is going to mean for the athletes, because generally speaking, historically, the more the UFC kind of consolidates everything to where they control it, you know what? I don't even know about that. I was going to say, like, the one thing we're talking about is when the fighters couldn't advertise on their shorts and all that, they obviously lost an enormous amount of money. But I'll be interested to talk to Shab about that, actually, because he was obviously heavily affected by that as a fighter. I think we're going to film. I don't know which day we're going to film today, but or this week, but we'll do one this week. So it's a bold new step into the new deal, ditching out 13. Yeah, so you get everything. You get all the numbered ones, you get everything. It'd be really interesting to see what the cards are going to look like, though. You know what I mean? Now, Jake Paul had this to say. Okay, we're going to close out with the one guy who's very upset about, well, not the one guy, but one of the guys who's very upset about it. He said the hubris from these guys is unreal if you are their partner. First, they talk about getting into boxing with no risk and charging fees on fees from their partners who are putting up the money. Now they're saying pay-per-view is dead. And here it is. Now they're saying pay-per-view is dead when they have a pay-per-view this weekend with Duplessis and one other with Pereira and another one with Aspinall and another one with what's that supposed to mean? What's that supposed to mean? Is he saying Conor's coming back? Just kidding. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Jake Paul is in the he's in the pay-per-view business still. Obviously, there wasn't a pay-per-view when they did their deal with Netflix, right? And that was a wild success. I would assume that Netflix is interested in doing that again, but MVP is crushing it. I mean, like they're the most successful new, like, small organization that's like grown normally. Like the Saudis it's not even like a real business, because they are just like they have ulterior motives for succeeding in putting on these boxing events that are not just like, we spend 10 million, we get 14 back, or 100 million, we get 100, whatever it is. You know what I mean? They know they're going to lose money on these and they don't care. Their goals are much bigger and more long-term, which is why I'm saying take off the gloves, overpay Canelo, overpay all of these guys, turn it into a new sport. Then you get to start from scratch. Let them have the WBC and all that. You're starting something different, and you could start from the ground with new champions and all that, and all you have to do is go get the best guys who are currently in boxing and overpay them to come in, with this. Do exactly like what the Saudi PGA thing was. You pay them so much that they can't say no. And then you start an entire new sport from the beginning, okay? Now, I realize I don't have the kind of reach, and I certainly probably don't have the kind of credibility that anyone would listen to me out of the gate. But I am telling you, you put me in a boardroom with these guys and let me explain to them why this is the right move, and they will fucking do it. Okay? They tried this with the PGA thing in Saudi where they were paying like all the best players. They came out there. It didn't matter if they won or lost. They said in the tournaments. It didn't really work. Okay? That's why that didn't work. But what you proved is you can get the top guys from the sport if you pay them enough money. Okay? In boxing, right? It's a disjointed fucking nightmare. And there's only like 3 or 4 guys or 5 who are massive draws. So you pay them to take off the big gloves, come and start boxing with MMA gloves on. You pay them enough that they'll do it. And now that sport is legit and you own all of boxing, because the boxing that's remaining with the big gloves, there's no one there that anyone gives a fuck about. You got all the talent right here. And so you own the entire sport from the beginning. Okay? And it can be whatever you want. It can be literally whatever you want. Pay-per-view, or you want to build it out in a different way. Like, this is the fucking move. Okay? This is the fucking move. This is the move. Anyway, That is what I got. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Congratulations, UFC. Congratulations to anyone who owns TKO stock. And yeah, love you guys. Bye bye.